A few days ago I talked about the Ultramarines of the Leviathan box set that's coming in a couple of weeks. I want to point out something I didn't know at the time. The Ultramarine side of the box is actually very much more powerful than the Tyranid side of the box. I also want to point out that there are a lot of books for 10th edition Warhammer 40,000 and other games from Games Workshop for free for download on their own website. I've already downloaded their core rulebooks, so I actually recommend it. Now, there's also that weird thing that Games Workshop has model specifics for their official games and tournaments. If you run Salamanders, you need to have the official Salamander models. You can't just paint Ultramarines green. But at the same time, Games Workshop very much promotes the different paintings. I'll link their site that shows the very well done paintings, but Games Workshop is odd. Now, we've got to talk about the Tyranid part of this box. First one in the list is the Winged Tyranid Prime, a flyer who will come into close quarters to take down targets and consume their biomass. But with claws like that's no problem. Now, these things are apparently normally Tyranid warriors, but this is the first Tyranid Prime to have a unique model, which is actually pretty cool. Of course, it has wings, which essentially requires it to have its own unique model for official games. The Neurotyrant is a support-focused Tyranid, which is pretty rare. According to the website, these things apparently have a relation to the zoanthrope, hovering over the ground with tendrils ready to slap anyone, though they have strength that their smaller cousins don't really have, including physical and psyker strength. Gives them power to put pressure on enemies without needing to be in their face like most Tyranids need. The Screamer Killer is essentially a walking tank with close quarters combat efficiency, running while ramming things with their hook hands, eating everything it sees while running towards another thing. This thing also has a ranged attack as well, the Bioplasmic Scream. According to the description, this ability can melt a Space Marine in seconds, and the extended notes even links to a video as well, which is 4.5 minute one, but rather incredible looking. I'll link it down below as well. Now we get to the smalls of the Tyranid army, specifically Von Ryan's Leaper, which has a weird paragraph in it. I quote, "Whoever this unfortunate Von Ryan was, he is a truly horrifying creature named after him." And honestly, looking at these things, yeah, these things seem to combine a couple of Tyranids, focusing on ambush, melee, and shock tactics. Then we have Termagants, which these might be easy to paint. Gun-toting dinosaur and dinosaur babies. These things have been in the game for a while, and hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? There's a total of 20 of these little bastards in the box, apparently, each with a bio rifle, which usually have a habit of being weak, but capable of armor piercing, so whatever. Now we have the Neurogants, which seem to be more Zerg-like with no ranged capabilities, but they are psychically connected to one another to coordinate Tyranid invasions. So these guys are your forward scouts and quick distractions. Think tactically. Barbgaunts are another type of gaunt enemy, Gaunt, which seems to have a biocannon on its back that shoots straight up parasites into targets. Which makes me wonder what their data card will say about them, because this sounds like a really cool damage over time effect. Can't even remove that gun, given the gun is literally a part of it. Then we've got the big mother of the Tyranids in this group, the Psychophage. This thing seems like the embodiment of tank. With a furnace of a body, it eats and consumes any biomass it can acquire to blast out psychoclastic torrents. Looks like they prefer the taste of psychers, so they'll go straight for your librarians or Eldar to empower itself. With multiple tentacles, I imagine this thing will probably be best with the attack first, attack fast, attack last sort of tactics as Tyranids tend to work with a Zerg-style mentality. There's a good reason why Tyranids tend to have a cheap point cost, because they do tend to beeline it directly into fire in the shortest route from point spawn to point consume. Now, I've got a little extra time in recording this video, so let's talk about the lore with this box specifically. Looking at the video on the website that I linked, it seems that Guilliman is talking about how maybe he was wrong for putting faith into the Emperor. How maybe the Empire was suicidal in their zealous religious belief. Leviathan being a hive fleet of the Tyranids with powerful psyker powers, I can kinda see where that's coming from. They supposedly were beaten back on the world of Baal, but some survived and reproduced and evolved, as Tyranids tend to do. Because of some gene stealer cults on the world as well, I imagine. With the Empire now fighting multiple enemies, not just from outside, but inside too, people are starting to question the power of the Imperium of Man, many worlds having been lost. Heretics, Xenos, cultists, daemons, mutants, all of them are enemies of the Imperium of Man, and mankind is starting to wonder who their allies actually are, because even some chapters will fight and kill other chapters for very strange reasons, like the Iron Hands, who hate flesh and blood, or the Dark Angels, who tend to be pretty fanatic given the first. From what this video tells me, Guilliman might be considering going traitor, possibly joining the Tau Empire, which allows aliens into their ranks. But Tau tend to also be ruled by a caste system, meaning if you're born a certain way, you do a certain job, which the Imperium of Man doesn't really do, but also kind of does. Either way, I'm excited for this box set. The pieces are supposed to be peg pieces, so I won't be able to customize anything other than their colors, but I'm still excited about it. Can't wait to paint them. This box set is also coming with a lore book for the Leviathan Hive Fleet, which is very hefty. It looks like it's filled with lore, rules, and apparently even artwork as well. This box is also coming with a core rulebook for 10th edition Warhammer, which I really need. The book has rules for combat, patrol, game format, and Crusader rules as well, to give a bit of story for your game. Then there's the Gambit cards, which are an interesting idea. Game not going your way? Out the window, plan B. But that's the box set. There are books, cards, and other things coming in this Leviathan box. But I have Space Marines to paint, so shove off.